All right, welcome to our Tuesday office hour. Um, so this is a big week because this is your first exam. And so I think the first exam is always a little like, okay, don't know what to expect. Um, but I just want to remind everybody of the practice or the quizzes that you're taking every week, right? The chapter quizzes. Um, they are short, right? But each one is attached to a question bank. And the more you take it, the more you'll see all the possible questions. So if you just take it once, okay, and you get your 5 points and you're happy with that, then that first exam will be like, I don't really know what to expect. But if you've taken it many times, okay, and you start seeing the same questions over and over, um, then you're probably pretty good. And so that's how you practice. I don't have a practice exam. The practice exam are in the quizzes here. Okay, so for each one, for each chapter, there's a chapter quiz, and you just want to take that multiple times. Maybe start with quiz number one, chapter one, and just take it a few times, and then take each one throughout the week and just to review. Okay. And so that is really how you prepare. Make sure your study guide is done because you will be turning it in this week, right? So all you do is you upload it here. If you wrote it out, you'd like to write the answers on a piece of paper, that's fine. You don't have to like copy it onto a digital, format or anything like that. Just kind of spread it out so I can see that you have pages and take a picture of it, maybe one or two pictures. You don't have to have a picture of every page or scan each page. No, because I assume that you put the correct answers since I gave you the correct answers, right? So I'm just, in fact, when you turn it in, even if it's a digital form, I don't really read them. I don't read through the answers, right? Because I'm just going to assume that you put the correct answer in. Okay. So I just kind of look to see if you did it. And so again, if you have a written copy, just take a couple pictures of it, kind of spread out a little bit and submit that. And so you'll just turn it in and upload whatever it is, pictures or your document, and that's it for that. Okay, but you really do need to get it complete, finish it, and then look it over, right? Read through it because every question in the on the exam comes from that study guide. I'm not going to be taking questions from other parts of the chapter that maybe we didn't cover. Okay. So I don't believe in testing you on things that I never talked about. And if I did, so that does happen occasionally where I thought I said something, but I didn't. Okay. So please feel free to point it out. Okay. Especially because you guys are the first ones. You guys are the first class to do this. So I want to be sure that that I've covered it in the study guide. All right. So, but I have two other classes that are very similar, but not exact, um, different kind of emphasis, but pretty much similar. And so sometimes I think I said it when I said it in another class and didn't actually say it in this class. Okay. So anyway, if something doesn't look right, then be sure to let me know and I'll check it out and give points back if it is a mistake on my part. Okay. And then at the end of the week, anywhere Friday to Sunday, you click on this link and then you're going to take the exam one. Okay. And it's 100 points. Um, there's matching, there's true, false, and multiple choice. Okay. And maybe some diagrams where you have to label a diagram. So again, the more you see the questions, the less surprised you're going to be. You don't want to be surprised. All right, so that's what's happening this week. There's no new information, right? That's going to be on the exam. But remember, we keep going with the bones. We're not done with our bones. Okay, so there are a few features this week, hardly anything. If we take a peek at it, maybe let's look. Okay, so this is it. We're going to look at the pelvis, and that's it for this week. Okay, so you could not do it and just add it to next week, which is fine because there's no graded quiz or anything this week. Okay, but it's only 4 features. Watch the video, the short video, and then just keep it going so you don't pile up or have any material piling up, right? So I try to spread it out, and so it's any one week is not too taxing. Okay, and I hope you are keeping up with the bones because it is not graded each week. I think it's easy to put it aside and to just kind of forget that it's there. But I want to encourage you not to do that, okay? Because it is a lot of material for, to try to study all at one time. It's too many things to have to know, right? So if you just kind of at least look at it, look at the videos, and take the practice quizzes each week, fit it into your schedule, and because they don't take that long. And then again, the more you see it, the better it'll be. Okay. Because I think it's week 9. Week 9 is when you have your bone exam, and that's 50 points, 50 random things out of the, I don't know how many things you have to know. And yeah, so, and it's closed notes and everything. So just know that that is coming, and that's right before the spring break. Okay. But you know that's in week 9. You will be taking your second exam in week 8. So you will have taken your second exam, and then the following week will be the bone exam. All right. So again, just want to maybe this week, you could maybe put it off, but and if you haven't been keeping up with the bones, as soon as you're done with the exam, you want to just kind of really hit that and really go back and catch all those bones and bone features that you need to know each week, because I think like week 3 was pretty heavy. There's quite a few features and bones that you have to know. And don't forget that there's that bone song. I think 1 or 2 people have done it. So I mean, this is just week 2. It was all this. So yeah, so it's a lot. That's why I just want to warn you not to wait until like the week before the exam, and to encourage you to visit the tutor. Okay, so if you haven't been visiting the tutor, not many people have visited the tutor, only a few handful of people. And so with that, with the tutor, I want to point out that I should put it on here that she will not have Saturday office hour. Okay, so come on Wednesday. Wednesday night is her yeah, I should make a little note here. Let me put it while you're watching. Okay. All right. So I'm gonna say no Saturday. What is that? 221? Is it 221? 221 tutoring. Okay. She's gonna be traveling, and yeah, it's the 21st. All right. But Wednesday, and anyway, you want to go to the tutoring, before you take the test. The test is open Friday to Sunday. So you should go to the office hour, 6 to 7:30. She has things planned. All right. She's going to streamline some things for the exam. All right. She's going to show you a bunch of things that may be on the exam. And again, everybody's exam is a little different. Okay, so people are going to get different questions, but she's going to show you some things that and again, streamline it, because you could take the individual quizzes over and over and over again, and you'd have to take it quite a few times in order to see all the questions. Well, she's going to help to streamline that. All right, so I want to tell you that will be worth your while, okay, on Wednesday, 6 to 7:30. And in addition, she's been going over the bone stuff also. So she quizzed you on that. And maybe on Wednesday you can tell her where to focus, right? There's hardly any features, so she'll probably just do that really quickly, but she'll spend most of the time on the lecture material. Okay. And then next week she'll continue with the bones because there'll be more features. All right. Any questions on that? I'm thinking, hoping you guys are kind of getting in a groove. But if you have not been attending her sessions, like I said, there's only a handful. I would suggest that you make time for it this Wednesday, 6 o'clock. All right. And then after that, either Wednesday or Saturday to put it in your schedule. It's so easy to not, right? To just put it aside. That's the scary thing about an online class is that, um, it's really easy to not do it and to wait until the end of the semester. So, or end of right before the exam, right? And go, okay, I need to see the tutor. But if you do it every week, it's just going to be not a lot of time and a lot less stressful. Okay. All right. So, anything else? So, those are really the only things that you have to do. Turn in your study guide. And it has to be done by Sunday, right? Everything's due by Sunday. And then take the exam by Sunday. And it will open. If you, for some reason, need it open earlier, just shoot me an email and we can arrange that. But I like to have it, open just a short period of time, few days kind of thing. But I realize, this is an online class and sometimes people are traveling or doing something else where they can't take it. So just let me know. I'm flexible. Okay. And let's see what else. Ungraded lecture material. Okay, then we just have our little practice bone quiz. So, and I'll post the recording here. All right. Any questions? Again, I'm not going to go over, um, specific questions or anything unless you have a question. I'll talk about some general things, kind of where we left off last time, which was in the last chapter, which is skin or integumentary system. But if you had questions, I could answer them. You guys good? All right, I'm going to. So we ended last time, I think, with drawing the skin. Is that where we ended? I think so. Um, yeah, we ended with this diagram. Okay, so you may or may not have to draw, or not draw, but look at a image or a drawing and label, or you might have to do it by multiple choice, like I asked a question about the skin and the integumentary system. So, I mean, first of all, what's the difference between the skin and integumentary system? So remember, a system, an organ system, includes many or more than one structure, right? It's usually several organs that form a system. So the integumentary system is, yes, the skin plus all those things in the skin, the accessory structures. We call them the hair and the nails. All right. Um, so are there any questions on this drawing? Like What are we looking at here? And then we can go over anything else that maybe was not super clear or, yeah. All right, so know that the skin is made up of the epidermis and the dermis only. Okay, so the skin is, oh, I don't have a black pen. So the skin is the, oops, epidermis plus the dermis. Okay. So sometimes people call the integument the skin, and that's okay. But when you add system in there, all right, we're talking about more things, right? So the skin are this just these two layers. And then we have the hypodermis, which is not part of the skin, but it's under the skin. So the hypodermis is made up of right, adipose tissue, and that's just fat. Okay, and I think people know that under their skin is a layer of fat. So it's very protective as far as cushions your body. A cushion, a pad there. Um, let's see. Oh yeah, I wanted to also give you something to remember, the epidermis. Okay, so remember dermis really means skin in Latin or Greek. Epi means above or on top of. So epidermis, and then hypo means below or under. So, or less than. So hypo is under the skin, right? So we have dermis as that kind of base, right? And one's above and one's below. Okay, so the epidermis, one way to remember the layers of the epidermis is come, let's get sun burned. Okay, so come, stratum corneum. Let's is stratum lucidum, granulosum, spinosum, and basale. Okay, so again, this is just the epidermis, this upper layer, and that includes from um, stratum corneum all the way to this wavy stratum basale. Okay, so come, let's get sunburned. So if you remember that, at least you would, be able to take a good guess, and just, choose from the ones that have that letter in it. Mnemonics are helpful. All right. So Pela, were you talking about the epidermis? Come, let's get sunburned. Is that what you were talking about? Okay, okay. All right. But realize it doesn't refer to the dermis. I mean, you could go, come, let's get sunburned, and think of a couple other words to include the whole skin. I don't know. Think of maybe P and a R. Come, let's get sunburned. Peter Rabbit. That's not Peter Rabbit. Papillary and reticular. Then at least you have the order at which it's found. Okay. All right. And then you have to know a little bit about each layer, right? So any of these things are fair game. Let me see what I asked. Yeah, because or the things that I asked about in the study guide, right? So make sure you're aware of the things and what layer it happens in. Like the melanocytes are located in the stratum basale, and those can become melanoma skin cancer. Okay, make melanin. All right. And then even the papillary layer and the reticular layer, what kind of connective tissue is found? right? Because that's a question. What kind of connective tissue is found in each one of these layers, right? And you know, the best way to do this, to learn it, is to draw it. Get a blank piece of paper, or you know, if you have a whiteboard, so you can erase it and do it over and over and over again. Draw the skin, draw the epidermis, the dermis, label all the layers, and then write a little something about each one. Because if you can do that, then you know it, right? It's really hard to do that and not really know it. So that's what I would do, and just practice drawing that, and then you should be good. Okay. Um, all right, a couple other things. Guys, just want to keep going. Things, you know, about the skin. So once we go over all the skin, we talked about different kinds of glands. So glands are the part of the accessory structure. So there's glands, there's hair, and there's nails that we covered in the lecture. Okay, so we talked about different kinds of glands, sebaceous glands, and um, a little bit about that and what they do. So the sebaceous glands, oh, let's look at a picture. I think, yeah, let me grab a picture before we draw anything. Sometimes I forget what kind of pictures I put on there. Oh, no new material. Let me look last week. Oh, okay. Chapter 5 images. All right, let's look at what images they used. And if you haven't, you know, gone here and put these things in your study guide, it's not necessary. You don't have to do it, but it's just nice to have them, I think. So let's see. So here we have our skin. So here's the epidermis. Okay, and I can see that this is the stratum basale. Okay, it's wavy. So I can determine between the epidermis and the dermis. Now the dermis is, you know, thicker than I drew on my picture. That's why it's good to see it here. And um, you know, reticular layer or papillary layer up here, reticular layer down here, lower layers, and you know, different types of connective tissue, areolar and dense irregular. All right, and then we can see all the little things in here. So the glands, we have a sebaceous gland here. The sebaceous gland makes sebum. And so if you notice, sebaceous glands are always associated with the hair follicle. We'll do the hair and the follicle next, or actually after the nails. All right, but so wherever there's a hair, sometimes there's a there's a gland there. So it makes sebum, which is like a waxy substance, and it protects the hair and lubricates the hair, keeps it from being real brittle. But during puberty, we make more sebum than normal. And sometimes these ducts get clogged. And so, you know, with bacteria, it can become infected. And so we can get acne from that. Okay, so acne arises from the sebaceous glands. And so that's a little interesting. All right. Then here we have a little sweat gland. Let me see if I okay. All right, so here's the sebaceous gland. Oh, okay. Okay, and then here's the sweat gland. Here, and this is, you know, a different kind of gland, so it looks a little different, but it's got a duct, and it makes, you know, sweat and releases it to the surface through a little pore, sweat pore. All right. And, again, an accessory structure. So this, um, I talk about two different kinds of sweat glands, the eccrine or merocrine. Oh, I didn't realize it called it eccrine. All right. Um, all right, so, and then here's a different kind of sweat gland called the apocrine or apocrine sweat gland. And they're a little different what they make. So this is a sweat gland kind of found all over the body. We have mostly these. And so the eccrine and the merocrine are the same term. I didn't realize it. This book called it something different. Right. And so this is for thermoregulation. This keeps us cool. A watery substance is secreted onto the surface, which then will evaporate and cool us off. Right. So these are for keeping us cool. And then the other one, which is the apocrine sweat gland, is found in certain places in the body, in the armpits and the groin, because it makes a different kind of sweat. It's a little more thicker, like we call it viscous, and so bacteria can also utilize the sweat here, and it makes it kind of smelly. So these are associated again with the armpits, and so with bacteria, it can make it smelly. So these are the smelly sweat glands, and these are just the watery ones. All right, so there are two different kinds, the apocrine and then the eccrine or the merocrine. So those are the same thing. All right. Okay, all right, see a question. Uh-oh. Um, okay. You drive here. Oh, okay, so you can't see the drawing. Did I not share it? Okay. Can you see it now? Are you able to see it now, the drawing? Okay. Oh, because you were the come let's get sunburned. Is that what you're talking about? All right, I'll put it back on when we go back to that. Okay. All right. So and then down here is the hypodermis, right? We can see the fat. Yay. And let's see, let me go back. Let's see if I can. No, it doesn't let me go back. Okay. We're gonna come back to that. Hmm. All right. Okay. So, let's see how to, I don't know how I can. Okay, I had to actually get out of the thing in order to see. All right, we'll come back to it, the pictures after we kind of talk a little bit about. So those are the glands. Um, let's talk about, all right, technology. And let's go to the nails. So the nails, okay, so everybody look at your nails. Okay, so those are like modified structures within the skin. Um, there is what we call the nail body. All right. So the nail body here, which is the main part of the nail. All right. We have let me see what else I want to put. Nail root. Now the nail root is deep. So we have the skin, right? So the skin here. Oh, well, This is where it gets kind of thicker, a little bit of thicker here. And then we have this kind of lighter area here. So if this is the nail body, there's this kind of lighter little area. And then kind of deep, the nail will extend down into, this is under the skin, right? All right, so this would be the nail root under the skin. So it's covered by the skin. We have this kind of this area here where the skin and the nail body come together. It's part of the stratum corneum. It's part of the stratum corneum that kind of extends onto the nail body. So this is called the cuticle. And then this little whitish area is called the lanula. The lanula is this pale area where the stratum corneum underneath it is a little thicker there. All right. And so because it's thicker, we can't see the blood vessels. But here, the stratum corneum is thinner. And so we can actually see blood vessels underneath it. So people who are in emergency medicine, okay, they can look at the nails and see whether the blood is kind of low in oxygen, because when it's low in oxygen, the blood appears kind of bluish, which is actually a really, really dark red. Oxygenated blood is a bright red, and deoxygenated or low in oxygen blood is a deep, deep red, which looks blue through the skin. So when you're low in oxygen, okay, we can see the blood vessels. And so a lot of times they look at the nails to see that. Now, way down in the bottom, here is the nail matrix. So down here is the area where we have growth. So mitosis is occurring right here, kind of way down under the skin. And so it's pushing, kind of like that stratum basale where there's mitosis. So growth is occurring from way under here and pushing the nail up. And yeah. Now, one thing we can't see here, which is called the nail bed. The nail bed is where the nail body rests on. So it's the part of the skin, it's kind of the surface of the skin underneath the nail. All right, so I don't know how to put that under here. Maybe I'll do this and then put a dotted line. So nail bed. So I think of like the body sits on the bed or lays on the bed, just like this is the same thing. The nail body is the actual nail, right? The hard part. And then underneath it is the skin, the stratum corneum, which is the bed underneath it. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's the nail. Not too well, it is kind of fun. Oh, another name for the cuticle you might see is called the eponychium. All right, so nicium means nail, and I think this is like epi. So it's on top of or on the nail, maybe. I'm not really sure, but nicium means nail. All right. The next one is hair. Hair is kind of fun. So let's take a peek at hair. And you should kind of practice drawing some of these things. So the hair is made up of three parts, and we looked at it on the diagram. We'll look again at it. So if we look at a hair, it's like this, and then we're going to surround it with stuff. So there are three parts to the hair. Okay, so here's the surface of the skin, like this. Um, so the hair is made up of the part that sticks out. So this is hair. All right. So this is called the hair shaft. And just like a plant, the root is underneath the surface. So this would be the hair root. And then it ends in this little bulb here. Think of like a plant. You plant a bulb. This is the hair bulb. Okay, so those are the parts of the hair. All right. If we're to take a look at, oh, okay, I don't, that's all I think I do. Because there's some other things I didn't really talk about. Oh, it does. So this is the first part of that question number 44, the three parts of the hair. Then it asks for the three layers of the hair. Ooh, which I didn't put on the, because these aren't the three layers. I don't think I answered it on the, in the lecture. Yeah, I didn't, huh? Did anybody wonder about that? What is, I said the three parts and then the three layers of hair. So I'm going to give it to you now. So the three layers of the hair, okay.
So you mentioned them.
Did I
You
say it out loud?
well, yeah, I have the medulla cortex and cartilage.
Uh-huh,
Yeah,
cuticle. Huh?
I have them right. I wrote them down. I have them in my study guide.
Okay, but I didn't like type it in.
Um, if I have it, it's because you did.
Okay, all right, very good. So there are three layers to the hair. Okay, so if we took a cross section through the hair like this and took a little picture, this is what we get. We get three layers. Okay, so there's an inner hair medulla. Oops, sorry. Medulla, an outer hair cortex, and then a cuticle.
Yeah, I also have the pic. I took a picture of your drawing, and you did this. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay, so I did it. Okay, phew. All right, so this is the layers, hair layers. Okay, so I just want to distinguish the hair layers from the parts of the hair. Okay, two different things. This is like just a section and you look at the layers of the hair. Now, another thing that we have the surrounding follicle. Have you ever heard of a hair follicle? Sometimes if you pull on a hair, there's this like white stuff around it. Okay, it's surrounding the hair. What is that? So that's what I want to talk briefly about is the epidermis and the dermis help to form the sheath around the hair. Okay, because it's surrounding it, but it actually forms like a little tube. And we have part of the epidermis, and then we have part of the dermis that surrounds it. And together, those structures are the cuticle. So together, these two things form the cuticle. Oh, follicle. What am I saying? Cuticle. Follicle, sorry. All right, but no, it's made up of an epithelial part, epithelium, or the epidermis, and then a part that's the dermis. And so I like to draw. Then we add the Um, so there's the epidermal. Sheath. What do they call it? Well, epidermal root sheath. And then there is a dermal root sheath. Oops, sorry. Okay, and together, these two things make the hair follicle, but they're not part of the hair. They surround it like a little tube. Now, it does, if you take anatomy, it gets even more detailed. The epidermal root sheath is made up of two parts, an internal and external root sheath. But just for now, you know that these surround the hair. Does that make sense? Okay. And so, just when you can see the follicle and they're regenerated, right? So it's not a big deal. All right, so that's the hair. I think hair is kind of fun to look at. Now, one other thing that I didn't draw in here, which maybe I'll do now, is associated with the hair follicle. We already saw the sebaceous gland, right? Is associated with the hair and the hair follicle. But there is a muscle. There's a muscle that's attached here to the hair and hair follicle. This is called the erector pili muscle. Erector pili muscle. So, I mean, think erect, it makes the hair stand up. So if you're scared, so it is controlled by the nervous system, right? When you're scared, when you're cold, it contracts and it pulls the hair up and makes it stand up. So that is what we call goosebumps. So you see the little goosebumps? Well, it's the hair, it's the contraction of that muscle, which is causing the hair to stand up. Now, you might think, why? Why would we have something like that in our body to make our hair stand up? What advantage do we have? Because, really in the body, there's a purpose for everything, which is kind of crazy. If you think you start learning about all the things that's happening in your body, everything has a reason to increase your survival, right? And so as you're looking at these weird structures and these processes, it should be like, okay, why would I have that? Why is that, how would that help me to survive? Maybe not us, but think of other animals that have a lot of hair. Okay, fur, perhaps. So, do you ever wonder like those little snow snow bunnies, right? The bunnies that I can't remember what they're called. The type of rabbit that lives in the snow, or the animals that live in snow and in very cold conditions. All right. So what happens is when their hair raises, it creates pockets of air, and they can warm the air in those pockets. So it's an insulation. So one thing, it can keep you insulated. Now, again, we don't have enough hair to really be insulated, but in an animal that's covered in hair, yes. Another thing, if you're scared, or an animal, a little bunny is scared and it's being hunted as prey, all right, by raising the hair, it makes them look bigger too. So it could be a defensive kind of thing, as well as a thermoregulatory type of thing. Okay. And so, in us, it's not such a big deal, but in other organisms, it might play a role. Okay, kind of fun. Erector pili muscle. Um, and then pigment, right? We talked about in the skin, we know melanocytes are the cells because it's got the CYTE. but the melanocytes produce melanin, and it's the melanin that, and there's other pigments that make hair different colors, like red, and there's different pigments, but melanin is mainly the main one. And so down here in the hair bulb, we do have blood vessels here. So they're, living, right? And then down here, we have the melanocytes. So there's little melanocytes down here that inject color or melanin into the hair. And that's genetically determined. And then the matrix is down here also. That's going to cause mitosis to push the hair up. Okay, so these are melanocytes. Melanocytes that produce melanin. Okay, does that make sense? All right. Lastly, the last thing was about burns. The different degrees of burns, first, second, third degree, and how to distinguish which one is which, right? So let's say you go out into the sun and you get red, your skin gets red. And so this is the first degree burn. So you might just have some damage to the epidermis. It might kind of peel off, flake off, right? You might be able to pull off more layers depending on how many layers are damaged, right? But there's no scarring, right? Because the lower layers will continue to undergo mitosis and push those upper layers, and then you can peel them off. A second degree, okay, so if you lay out in the sun and you start to get blisters, okay, not just peeling of skin, but actual blisters between the epidermis and dermis. So it means that the damage was deeper, right? It damaged maybe a little bit of the dermis, so you get a separation of that epidermis and dermis, and you get blisters. So that's the second degree. Usually not scarring, very little or no scarring. And then, of course, the third degree is where it goes deep, right? It goes into the dermis and damages the lower layers. Okay, and what's in the lower layers, right? We have nerve endings there. So it's kind of like what is that? A paradox, or what is that when the most damaging is the least painful, right? Why is it the least painful? Because the damage is so deep, you damage the nerves, and so you can't have any sensation. So if you get a burn and it hurts, you should be grateful. Be grateful, because it means that it didn't go as deep as the dermis, and so your nerves are still there. Okay.
I have a question regarding the hair layers. We keep the three first that you mentioned last week, or we add the epidermal root sheet and the dermal root sheet that were not mentioned. So we keep the.
No, you don't have to put that. You don't have to know that. You could just say these two, these layers are the hair follicle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
Okay.
just that the hair follicle surrounds it. But I like to talk about, what it is, right? So that
Mhm.
there's actually, we could see a part of the epidermis that makes it and part of the dermis that makes it. And if you, do go on and take an anatomy or more specialized classes that we do go into those kind of details. And even, reading, your textbook has a lot of stuff in it, so that when you see it, you go, oh, okay, I understand that, the follicle is made up of different layers, but we call it all the follicle. So, yeah. So, but you don't, because I will only test on what's on the study guide. So you can be, assured that I don't go beyond that. If I didn't ask it on the study guide, then you're good. Okay, but just extra knowledge. All right.
I like it, but I just want to know because I have so much to get into my head.
Right. Oh, yes, yes, because you want to know, okay, do I have to know that? No, but now it's just tucked away in a corner so that if you look at it on a picture, it'll be like, oh yeah, way back there. There it is. So let me go back to you wanted this one, the let's get sunburn. So this is remember just the epidermis.
Come back, get some.
And I added let's get sunburn, Peter Rabbit. Okay. And I did that because this is the dermis. If you want to have to remember the layers of the dermis, okay, the papillary and reticular.
So, sorry. So let's come. No,
Come.
come get. Let's get some. I'm gonna take a picture because
Okay, that
I
sounds good.
like if I go back and forth to my study guide, and then you said for the dermis,
Peter
you
Rabbit.
okay. And can I see the nail again, please?
Yes, let's go back to the
Because
nail.
you didn't draw that one last week. And I actually understand more your drawings than the pictures that you have to attach to the study guide. So I
Ah,
didn't attach any pictures. I keep your drawings. I don't know. For my understanding, I understand more what you said.
that's good because you know what? When you submit the study guide, you don't have to have drawings in it. There's
Yeah,
nothing, you just need to answer every question. And then again, I'm not even going to really read your answers. So if you
I
put,
already did. I already did, but just to let you know, I didn't attach any of the pictures
yeah,
because
that's
I
fine.
understand the drawing more. I have been a long time not studying, so I'm I
That
looked at
makes me feel good. You like my drawings.
I yeah. Yeah.
And there's again, there's something that happens in memory when you draw it. I don't know. It's something good happens when you draw it. And I think I've mentioned this that I'll ask people who, let's say, did poorly on an exam with a maybe a diagram or something, and I asked, they said, "Oh, I thought I knew it because I looked at the picture." But it's the people who actually practice drawing it that will do well. Okay.
Well, it connects to the brain.
Yes, yes. It's somehow etches it into the brain a lot better. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
yeah, that's so just remember any opportunity you have to draw something out or actually write it out, it just reinforces it and versus just reading it. And that's why, like an online class that just says, read the textbook or read this and then take an exam. It's you have to have different modes. You have to hear it, you have to write it, you have to see it. There's lots of other ways to learn that reinforces that information. So anyway, okay. Any other questions?
It has to be related to what you just teach today, or could be something from previous lectures.
So you mean from for the exam?
I have a question.
Okay, yes.
um, I've been having a hard time with, and on Saturday when we did
With the tutor?
with the tutor as well, all the part that we did regarding not anatomy, chemistry. Um, so in the part that after we talk about when we talk about DNA, RNA, and no, not actually I understand that covalent is covalent.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it in my study guide. I don't know what it.
Okay, so here about the bonds that hold atoms together, right? Because we have all these atoms, and in order to form a molecule, we have to stick the atoms together. And so there's ways to hold the atoms together, and there's different kinds of bonds depending on what the atoms are. And so the ionic covalent are two different types of bonds that hold it together. So
Mm-hmm.
I think of like co if we were to look that up, like you cohabitate, you cooperate, you are codependent. Co means share. So if you cohabitate with someone, you share a living space. If you cooperate, you share, I don't know, you work together, right? It's all about
Mhm.
coming together. So a covalent bond, I see the word co, and that means share. So that means two atoms. So here's an atom and here's an atom. They're going to share an electron. And what that means is this electron is going to spend time on this atom, but then it's also going to spend time on that. So this is
This is what I mean when I say your drawing is more understandable because you show a picture the day that you teach that, and I couldn't get it. Sorry.
right versus like just looking at a picture from the textbook or something, right? So here's an atom, and they just share electrons, meaning it does this. Whereas the other type is an ionic
Yeah.
bond. An ionic bond is where one atom, here's one, it's going to actually give up its electron. So here's another atom. It's going to give up its electron to this guy. And so if we get rid of this and the electron goes on this guy, this is going to have an overall negative charge because it gained a negative charge. But this one that lost an electron is going to have an overall positive charge because remember, we have positive protons in the middle and it's balanced the number of electrons and protons. So if we
And
just lose an electron, we're going to have then one too many protons in there.
yeah, I get that. And covalent, which is the charge, it's
Yeah.
negative because it's shared.
No, no. Well, okay, that's a great observation. This each atom is going to have a slight negative charge because as the electron is on it, it's going to become a little more negative, but not totally because it's only part of the time on there. So we draw it like where this is a positive and a negative, it's going to be like there's a little sign that means a partial negative charge. I think that's what it looks like. So it's just kind of a little negative because as it's on that atom, but it's not all the time. So that's a great observation. And there are bonds that hold together. Like if we have a partial positive charge here, it's going to be attracted there, right? So we can create other bonds based on these. And in fact, water. Okay, so just kind of this is fun. H2O, all right. So it shares electrons, is going to, be shared like this. So the hydrogens have a partial negative charge. And so and so actually it actually has a partial positive because I think the electron spends more time here. And so it can create bonds with other molecules, other water molecules that have a partial negative charge. So we can get, and I think that's how water is held together is because of these partial charges. So there's other things that are beyond this, but it's all to hold our molecules together, our atoms together, so we don't fall apart. But this way, when this is a positive charge, so let's say this is a sodium and this is a chlorine, because this is an atom, I mean, electron that totally jumps ship. It's not sharing any time on here, just whoop, left and here, and then we have an overall positive charge. And so now we have a two charged ions, right? That's why it's an ionic bond because we create a sodium ion and a chlorine ion. And then they're attracted to each other now. And that attraction is pretty strong because It's a positive and a negative, and they want to be together, right? And so then they come together and they want to be together, and we get sodium chlorine. But we have to have this formation of the ion first before those are attracted to each other.
Thank you.
Uh-huh. Very good. All right. Any other ideas? So, again, I won't go beyond what's in the study guide, right? So, what is an ion? What's an ionic bond? An ionic bond is just a bond held between ions. That's all really you have to understand. I'm not going to ask you sodium and chlorine. Um, and then the covalent is that they just share electrons, and that will be enough for the test. Okay. All right. Any other thoughts? Have you guys been taking the quizzes over and over again?
A couple of times, but I will go over all of them throughout the week too, because as I say, I don't get all of them together.
Right. Because it's a lot, because you're going to see repeats too. And so to get to every question would take that's why I go to the tutor. The tutor like took the questions and will just boom, go through the questions, all the possible questions.
Yeah, she made us understand what the question was about, because sometimes I see the question, but I cannot understand what is the question.
And that's a great thing, because she'll go through them and then it's like, okay, I didn't understand that one, right? Either I missed it or I just don't understand what this is asking. Then she can stop and then ask you the questions. But she'll work through the questions, as many as she can, and really streamline it for you.
Okay. Yeah.
So go. She's worked hard too, in making these things that she's providing for you. So
And she's fun.
she's goofy.
I have a question about taking exam. So like, you know how when we take quiz, we just go to the link and click on the quiz. So the exam, we just go to the link and click on the exam. So the one that I download, the proctor, will automatically pop up.
Yes, it will
Okay.
prompt you like, let's check your camera, let's check your mic, it will prompt you and tell you what you need to do to like engage it and to get it going. And if there's a problem, it'll tell you, okay, you need to do this. So I think it's pretty good in telling you what you have to do. Yeah, and you click on it and it'll run you through what you have to do to prepare, and then you could start the exam.
So the exam questions is like the one like the quizzes, right?
Exactly like the quizzes.
Yeah.
Exactly. And that's the thing, is it's taken from the same question bank. So there might be, like, for chapter 5 in the question bank, multiple choice, right? There's only like 5 in your quiz, but in the question bank, there might be 20 questions. So you could see, if you took it, you'd see different questions, but you may not get to every question, right? That's why you want to go to the tutor, because she's gonna like boom, 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 and
Through
really,
all the
yeah, try to show you as many as she can from the exam. So I just really want to encourage people to go. It'll be worth your time.
I
and
had a
the
question
bone
as well.
list. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, Alicia?
Yes, sorry. I had a quick question. For the exam, I've never taken anything that's locked or videoed or anything like this before. I'll be honest, I do have a disability, so I use headphones, especially like right now, my little ones are on a February break from school, and I wasn't expecting it to line up with the exam. So can we use headphones during
Oh,
the
yes,
test? Okay,
definitely. And so
thank
you
you.
behave like normal. This one for six.
I know. So sad.
Yeah. So, oh yeah, there's no office hours on Saturday, right? You know that, right? For the tutor.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you so much for your help. We appreciate it. It was so
Oh
wonderful
yeah.
to help me know where I need to focus. Thank you so much.
Yay.
Okay, so she'll be on Wednesday. but
I'll be
she's
there.
not online on Saturday. So you guys know that, right? Okay, so yes, so the proctoring, uh, it's you just behave normally. So don't be worried about like, talking or if you talk to yourself or if whatever, like headphones, that's fine. Even if it flags it, uh, I'm the only one who can have access to the recording. I would just look at it and go, oh, okay, not a big deal. So just don't cheat and you'll be good, right? Um, and just well lit area so I can see your face. I've had people like in the dark. It's like I can't see your face. So that would be flagged and I'd reach out to you and say, hey, we got to take care of that. So, but again, it's just me and I'm looking and don't worry about it. Uh, but yeah, I know last year I took a class, a language class, a Japanese class, and to take an exam, I hadn't taken an online exam ever, and I've given them right, but I've never taken an exam, so I totally get it. It's a little kind of nerve-wracking, and to have the practice exams are good. So be sure to do that over and over and you'll be real comfortable. But yeah, and if ever you run into a problem, like sometimes technology, um, I don't know, fails, or if your Wi-Fi or suddenly the exam stops and it doesn't let you back in, it's not a big deal. Just email me, hey, this happened, or sometimes images don't come up. Like if your Wi-Fi is not real strong, an image might not pop up. Just kind of jot down, maybe have a blank piece of paper and then jot down the number. Okay, I couldn't see the image on this, and this question or whatever. And then after you're done, you submit it and then you email me, hey, on these questions, I couldn't see them. Then I go in and I, look to see, oh yeah, you didn't answer these. And then we figure out how to get the images to you, right? So it's never, technology is going to fail, especially with the storms and stuff. We don't know if the power goes out suddenly or whatever. Don't worry, I can extend due dates. I can, let you have another attempt. I can do all kinds of stuff from my end. It's just, just let me know. But I know it's a little nerve-wracking. So I feel for you guys. All right. Any other questions?
Thank you. We're
No
good.
problems. No problems. And then yeah, so go see the tutor on Wednesday and she'll help you a lot because I'm telling her, feeding her things like, okay, provide this for them. Because I want you guys to go visit her again. We only get funding if people visit. So she was a little sad the first week no one came to her office hours. So she was so happy. Hey, people came, yay. So anyway.
Okay. I'm good, so I have to study.
Okay, go study. All right. Hey, and just do those little practice quizzes over and over again, in your little bits of time in the day. So, all
Okay.
right, you guys, you can do it. I'll be
Thank
looking.
you.
Have a good week. Not
You
too good though.
too.
Study. Bye,
Bye-bye.
guys.
Thank you.